Journey to Misery. We're explaining complicated comics, characters and concepts to the patient question marks. My name is Karen Shiak, and this week we're doing Loki. This was suggested to us by Ian Craig, who is a Patreon supporter at the $5 level, which gives him the chance to suggest a character to us. He suggested Loki, specifically Loki from post-Civil War, the Thor series that came out of Civil War.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. There's a lot of stuff to cover. It's kind of one long story, even though it weaves and there's multiple writers involved. There's a really good straight through line.
Nice. Finally.
Well, that's not to say it's not confusing.
No.
It's very confusing at times.
No, don't crush my dreams.
But, like I said, Ian is a Patreon supporter, so he can suggest this. If you would like to suggest an episode, you can go to patreon.com/kingimpulse. Sign up for the $5 level. Every 6 months you get to choose a character for us. So I want to say a big thank you to Ian, who is at Ian Craig WN on Twitter. A few things before we start. Always got a bit of business to take care of. First things first, we got no emails with corrections about Captain Marvel.
Really? Yes.
Which I was very, very happy about because I was very worried going into that episode. Secondly, we have a new iTunes review.
Oh, nice. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I kept that from you.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Secrets.
So this review comes from Tanner Jukebox.
Okay.
And he describes Journey to Misery thusly. A super insightful look for comics newbies like me. Kieran does a great job of explaining things concisely and without getting too sidetracked. Helen's reaction to basically everything are also my reactions. If you want to learn about comics, this is your show.
Ah, that's nice.
So thank you for that, Tanner. We really, really appreciate it.
Good egg.
Last thing before we start the show, we're still taking people's votes for what to
the
do.
Chunks thing.
Yeah, what to do with Daredevil and the multi-episode focuses going forward. Next week we start Daredevil. We're going to do a series of episodes about Daredevil. I think it's going to be about 3, maybe 4 episodes. So what we want to know is, would you rather we do Daredevil, just 4 straight weeks of it, or would you rather we did Daredevil, Aquaman, Daredevil... I can never think of any characters who go in this place.
Someone else.
Martian Manhunter, Daredevil, Nightwing... What would you rather we do? Would you rather just listen to a solid month of Daredevil, or would you rather break it up so it's not... I'm worried about it being too repetitive. That's my worry.
Yeah, you don't want to annoy people.
Yeah, so please email us journeytomisery@gmail.com, or you can tweet me at kingimpulse and let us know, and we'll add that to the list. Currently the big chunk is winning.
Okay.
So you have up until my birthday.
Oh god.
Tuesday 24th of February is when we're scheduled to record the Daredevil episode. We might not, because it is my birthday. We might put it on hold till the Wednesday.
We might be drunk.
We might be drunk. So Tuesday 24th, Wednesday 25th is your deadline for if you want to get a vote in for that. So with that all in order, you ready to talk about Loki?
So does it ever be?
Okay, so what do you know about Loki?
Not much.
Well, I know that because that's the point of the show, but what do you know?
All I know about him is from the Avengers and Thor.
Okay, so who's his dad?
The same as Thor's. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
I was going to say Hodor, but it's not.
It's not.
It's not Hodor. I can't remember anything, I'm sorry.
Maybe we should watch Thor before we did this.
Maybe.
I'll give you a quick...
I'll remember, when you say it.
Well, I'll give you a quick bullet point just to remind you of stuff you already know.
Okay.
Loki is the adopted son of Odin.
That's it.
Because he's actually an ice giant.
Yeah. I know that.
Brothers with Thor, his mother's Freya.
Yes.
Do you know what he's the god of?
No.
He's the god of mischief.
Oh, he is, isn't he? Okay. It's just we've done so many people, I'm just who's who anymore?
Yeah. So it's also been construed as he's the god of mischief, he's the god of mayhem, the god of evil, the god of lies.
Yeah.
That's Loki's deal.
I know that a lot of people think he's really misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, cool motive, still murder.
Yeah, and then there was an incident with a horse. Was it a horse?
Yeah. We're not covering that here.
I know that there was an incident and that people don't talk about the incident.
You're talking about Sleipnir, the 6-legged horse. Yeah, we won't cover that here. We'll cover it in a future episode, but not here.
Not today.
It's not pertinent. Okay, so do you know what Ragnarok is?
No.
In Ragnarok, it is the title of the 3rd Thor film.
Okay.
It is also the prophesied Armageddon of Asgard.
Alright.
So it's a series of events that leads to all of the Asgardians dying.
Oh,
It's a cyclical event, so it's like a death and rebirth sort of situation.
so it's not all bad.
No.
Well, everyone dies, but more people come along.
Yeah, it's like they come back, but it's more than just, oh, this superhero's back. It's built into the mythology.
All right, okay.
So Ragnarok happened to the Asgardians in the mid-2000s, and there were no Asgardians in Marvel Comics for quite a while.
Okay.
And this is kind of where we're kicking off from. So Thor comes back. This is Thor.
Yes. I'm aware for.
He's the first one to come back from Ragnarok, and he restores Asgard, but instead of it being in Asgard space, in the dimension where Asgard is supposed to be,
Yeah.
he raises it on Earth. It's a
Right.
floating city in Broxton, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because Thor loves Midgard. He's the king of Asgard now. He can do what he wants with it.
Yeah. I was just gonna say he's got like power and stuff.
Yeah, but he's still the only Asgardian left. Or he's the first Asgardian back. So he has to go around unlocking the Asgardians who are trapped in mortal form.
Oh, okay. So like they're there.
Yeah, but they don't know that they're actually Asgardians waiting to be unlocked.
Oh, that's cool.
So he frees the Warriors 3.
Oh, okay.
So that's Fandral the Dashing, Hogun the Grim, and Volstagg the Voluminous.
Nice.
Or Volstagg the Valiant if you ask him. He frees Heimdall.
Yes, I know Heimdall.
Heimdall is Idris Elba's character in the films.
He has a Bifrost.
Yes, he guards the Bifrost.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the Bifrost?
It's like a door.
The Bifrost is it's a bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a gate, like a gateway between the things.
Yeah, between the
Yeah.
Nine Realms. Yeah. And also Balder the Brave, who isn't in the films.
I've heard of him. I don't know why.
Well, he's from mythology.
That's probably why.
Yeah, all of these characters are
I know
from Norse
that
mythology.
all of like 4 is North.
Yeah. So he unlocks all the Asgardians, and he can't find Sif anywhere. Do you remember Sif?
Sif. I do remember Sif.
And she's in the films as well.
She is.
He can't find Sif anywhere. He frees every single Asgardian, takes him back to Asgard, but he can't find Sif anywhere. He finds a woman who he thinks, I've got her, it's Sif. He unlocks her, and it turns out to be
Loki.
Loki.
That's sweet. That's cool.
Loki is, as far as I'm aware, one of the very few canon gender fluid characters.
God bless.
And one thing that I'm worried about here is I don't want to offend anyone with pronoun usage.
Alright, yeah, that makes sense.
So over the course of the episode, when Loki is female, I'm going to say she, and when he's male, I'm going to say he.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Just to not be...
I apologise if that offends anyone, but it's just the easiest way for me to get through it.
Yeah.
So all the Asgardians are back in Asgard, which is in Broxton, Oklahoma. All of them except for Sif. Initially, people don't trust Loki because she's Loki.
Right.
But she does everything she can to gain the good graces of Asgard, and she even reveals that Balder is actually a son of Odin,
Oh.
and therefore brother to both Loki and Thor. So people begin to trust her.
Probably wrongfully.
Yeah, absolutely wrongfully, because she has plans.
Of course.
She visits Hela,
Hela. That's cool. Yes.
who is the goddess of death,
That's an amazing outfit.
and she rules an area called Hell, with one L.
Hell with one... Oh, this is going to be very confusing, isn't
This is
it?
going to be very confusing in about 30 minutes.
Oh, God. Every time.
Loki briefly returns to male form by taking off his female body like a coat and hanging it on a rack.
That's really weird.
It's going to be important in a second.
That's so weird.
And he travels back in time with the aid of Hela. He meets a guy called Bor,
Okay.
B-O-R,
Nice.
and that's Odin's dad,
Oh, okay. Right.
who went missing mysteriously. What actually happened was Loki, present day Loki, turned him into snow
He turned his sort of granddad into snow.
and scattered him across the earth.
Nice.
He then later appears to an older Odin as Bor to tell him one day you will make someone else without a father, so at that point you must take that child into your care.
Oh, okay.
He then hooks up with his child self
Right.
who hates his parents, and they work together to bring about the events that lead to Loki's dad dying at Odin's hand, which lead to Loki being adopted in the first place. So Loki didn't change anything in history. He just went back to make sure the things that happened.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
He comes back to modern day, chatting with Hela, where he reveals that the form that he's currently wearing is the form of Sif.
Okay.
And she's trapped somewhere.
So it was Sif all along.
Yeah.
Right.
And he slips back into the Sif coat.
So weird. So weird.
Loki brings back Bor, but bewitches him so everything he sees is demonic and evil. In order to stop Bor's rampage, Thor is forced to kill him.
Oh.
But he didn't realise it was Bor. Because Bor never actually died, he was still technically king of Asgard
Yeah.
when Thor killed him, which means that Balder, as the kind of next in line to the throne, has to send Thor into exile.
Oh dear.
So Loki's plans coming together.
Yeah. To get rid of everyone.
So Norman Osborn, he takes over as the director of Hammer.
Okay.
He forms his own version of the Illuminati.
Why is there always an Illuminati? Why does there have to be an Illuminati at all?
And they're called the Cabal.
Okay.
So you've got Norman Osborn, Loki, Doctor Doom, Emma Frost of the X-Men,
Nice.
Namor,
Okay.
who is Marvel Aquaman,
Oh, okay, right.
and a guy called the Hood, who is... he's like a mob boss, but in charge of all the like low-level, street-level supervillains.
Everyone in the hood.
Oh no, he wears a hood.
See, double meaning.
Okay.
They didn't know about it.
I'm stopping the show right now.
They didn't know about it.
And also important is that the Hood is powered by the Norn Stones, which are Asgardian artifacts that were gifted to him by Loki after he loses his regular powers.
Okay.
So they work together to kind of secretly rule the world.
As you do.
Because everyone thinks Norman Osborn is like the guy, like the hero. He can make it easier for his baddie friends.
Yeah.
The first thing they do is help Doctor Doom regain control of Latveria.
Okay.
And then Loki advises Balder to move the Asgardians, but not Asgard, just the Asgardians, to Latveria, away from the US, where it's safe.
Okay, right.
Loki, as part of the Cabal, is secretly working to drive Norman Osborn off the edge, back into his full-blown villainy, but we still don't know why yet.
It's gonna be something ridiculous, isn't it?
She masquerades as the Scarlet Witch
Yes.
to work with Hank Pym's Mighty Avengers. We covered this briefly in the Inhumans episode.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Just to be like an extra thorn in Osborn's paw, but she's eventually outed by Cassie Lang, daughter of Scott Lang, Ant-Man.
Yes.
But it seems like her work amongst the Mighty Avengers might have done the job with Osborn, because he's slowly starting to lose it. Loki then appears to Thor, who's still exiled, and explains to him that when the Asgards are being placed into human hosts, Sif's soul is in a dying human.
Okay.
When Thor sent out the mass call for all the Asgardians to return, Sif's host was too weak to hear the call. When Thor mass summoned the Asgardians, Sif's body was created, but her soul could not be placed into it. So the body went looking for a soul with no body and found Loki, which isn't what happened. It's Loki stole the body.
Yeah.
But this is what Loki's done to Thor. Loki claims that if he were to transfer from his female form to his male form, he would probably just kill Sif's host. And she urges Thor to find Sif and say goodbye before she dies. But Thor's able to find Sif, and just before her host body dies, and he rescues her and brings her back. Over in Latveria, Doctor Doom and the once again male Loki
Nice.
are working together to harvest the power of Asgardians.
Yeah.
Like carving out Asgardians' hearts and stuff. It's all pretty grim. But Balder finds out, and with the aid of Thor, they take down Doctor Doom, but no one knows that Loki was working with him. At this point, we find out what Loki's been working to the entire time.
What is it?
He hates that Asgard is on Earth,
Okay.
and he wants it back in its home dimension where it belongs.
Is that it? He
Mhm.
just doesn't like where he's put the new one.
Yeah. So he's managed to manipulate Norman Osborn, who is in charge of America's military, basically, to manufacture a reason to wage war on Asgard.
Okay.
So what they do is they recreate the Stamford incident,
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the Civil War?
Uh-huh.
Which started with one thing going wrong due to the heroes.
Yes.
They set Volstagg up to accidentally kill a stadium full of people.
Okay. Right.
Because Volstagg gets attacked by some villains called the UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And they attack him, he like deflects their attack, their like energy attack with his blade.
And then that kills everyone else.
Well, they like blow up the stadium that he's in.
Yeah.
And it looks to everyone like Volstagg did it.
Oh, okay.
So Osborn wages war in Asgard, even though the president's like, please don't do that. So Osborn's Avengers, along with everyone in the Hood's superpowered army, converge on Asgard. Steve Rogers, who's recently returned back to life, assembles all the heroes to aid Asgard, and they take down Osborn. But when they do, the Void is unleashed. Remember the Void?
I do remember the Void.
Sentry in the Void. And Loki is like, this is a bit too far.
Loki is like, this is a bit too far.
Yeah, because the one thing he had no idea, the Void was kind of like an X-Factor variable that Loki never saw coming. And the Void is like an apocalypse level threat.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So he takes the Norn Stones back from the Hood and uses it to power the Avengers.
Yeah.
As the Avengers have the Void on the ropes, the Void figures out that it's Loki that's powering them, so he kills Loki.
Okay.
Loki's last words are an apology to his brother for the mischief and mayhem that he's caused.
Oh, no, that's sad.
Tony Stark drops the helicarrier on the Void, and Thor finishes him off with his hammer. And that's the end of the episode. Loki's dead. Has been for the last 7 years.
That's not true.
It's not true. So, what was Loki up to?
I don't know. What was he up to?
Following his suggestion to Osborn to invade Asgard, he goes and he calls up some spirits of some fallen henchmen who, without an Asgardian hell to go to, because hell isn't where it should be.
Is this Hell double L?
Yeah, Asgardian. I might refer to it as Asgardian hell.
Okay.
Without an Asgardian hell to go to, they've been wandering the earth. He sacrifices the spirits of his henchmen to creatures known as the Desir.
Okay. They're terrifying.
They're a group of ghoulish women who feast on Asgardian souls.
Nice. That's awesome.
They were once the personal warriors of Bor,
Okay.
but he found them feasting on Asgardian flesh, and he cursed them.
You don't want none of that.
They can only eat the wandering spirits of deceased Asgardians, but a spirit would only ever be in Asgard or Hell, so there's never been any wandering spirits before.
Yeah. This is a new problem.
Loki humbles them in combat and forces them into his servitude. He then heads to Hela and provides proof that the Desir are real, but neglects to tell her that they're under his control.
Oh, okay. Right.
So
Mischief.
Hela needs an Asgardian hell to rule over to look after the dead, because otherwise they're going to be eaten by the Desir. Loki then goes to Mephisto.
Uh-huh. He just looks like a sort of devil.
Yeah, who is the lord of Hell.
Oh, right, so yeah, he is the devil, basically.
Well, in Marvel, there's multiple people who kind of claim to be the devil.
Yeah, as with everywhere, really.
Yeah. Mephisto actually started out as a Silver Surfer bad guy,
Oh, okay.
but he's kind of naturally drifted more toward the mystical characters.
Yeah, yeah.
Loki makes a deal with Mephisto. He'll grant Hela a portion of his hell for her hell, and Mephisto will get the Desir as his private army for 101 days.
Why 101?
It's all talk. It's Hela gets the land for 101 years and Mephisto gets the land for 101 days, or maybe 1,001. I'm not sure which. It's just like contract speak. And what we're like in this issue is everyone seems kind of bored by the tricks they're all trying to pull on each other, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
It's all just like language to them.
Okay, right.
So what does Loki get from this? For finding Hela a hell within hell, she's stricken his name from her books, so whenever he dies, he's not bound for Asgardian hell.
Oh, cool.
So that was taking place before he died.
Yeah.
So due to his deal with Hela, he didn't stay dead for long, and he was reborn in the body of a young French con artist.
Oh, God.
Thor, who, despite all logic, missed his brother, brings Loki back, but Loki remains in the body of the teenage boy. This kid Loki
Yes.
has no knowledge or memories of his older self's actions and is actually appalled to find out what he did and the reputation that he has amongst the Asgardians.
Oh.
He dedicates himself to clearing his name and becoming a force for good, but no one trusts him because there's always a chance it's just another one of Loki's schemes.
Yeah, like, I guess it's a bit of a boy who cried wolf situation, isn't it? Like, he's been a shit before, he's probably going to be a shit again.
Yeah. Loki gets on this kind of scavenger hunt that ends up with him falling through the dot in a question mark in a book, of the question being, why did Loki do it?
That sounds absolutely terrifying.
And he finds the classic Loki helmet on a plinth with a magpie sat atop it.
Okay.
He's greeted by the ghostly echo of old Loki,
Jesus.
who says that he becomes so predictable in his mischief and tricks that he'd rather die than just be the same.
Yeah, like, you don't want to be predictable if your whole thing is to, like, surprise people with things.
So he made himself reborn to give him a chance to, like, break the story.
Yeah.
And a lot of Loki's story in this is him trying to go against the narrative of what Loki should be.
So he's trying to, like, break what people expect of him.
Yeah. And Kid Loki kind of condenses the old Loki personality down into a magpie, which he names Ickle.
Ickle.
Which is his opposite and counsel.
Ah.
Odin's evil brother, the Serpent, returns to Asgard, and while Thor's battling the main fight as part of the Avengers, Loki's moving around behind the scenes trying to take him down. He tames the Hellwolf.
That's amazing.
With Odin's magic bridle, and makes it pledge servitude to Loki as long as it lives. He then heads to Asgardian Hell and uses the Hellwolf to distract Garm,
Okay.
who is the guard dog of Asgardian Hell.
It's like a hell wolf.
Well, no, because Hellwolf is a Hellwolf.
Okay, yeah.
That's Hellwolf.
Yeah.
That's Garm.
But he's a literal hell wolf.
Mm-hmm. Loki sneaks past Garm while Garm and Hellwolf are fighting, and finds the recently deceased Tyr,
Okay.
god of war, who is now in Hell and kind of Hela's right hand man.
At least he got a good deal out of going to hell.
Yeah. And Tyr tells him that Hell hasn't picked a side between the Serpent and Asgard yet. He then heads to Mephisto to find out what has become of the Desir, and discovers that while in Hell they died, making them subjects of Mephisto's Hell.
Oh god, okay, right.
But they're still under Loki's ultimate control once the 1001 Days runs out.
Yeah, once the time limit's up, it's back to normal.
He tells Mephisto that if the Serpent and Hela were to form an alliance, they may one day invade Hell, Mephisto's Hell. So Mephisto strikes first by invading Asgardian Hell.
There's so many hells.
Loki then heads back to warn Hela that this is coming, and Hela leaves to confront Mephisto.
Okay.
Hela's handmaiden,
Right.
called Leah,
Yeah.
she discovers that Mephisto has the Desir, who eat the dead, meaning that any army that Hela could raise would be like fish in a barrel for the Desir.
Basically.
As Hela is about to strike, she learns about this, and she also learns that there's a civil war brewing within her Hell,
Yeah.
and she decides that she can't fight a war on two fronts, and Mephisto doesn't want the Serpent anywhere near any of the Hells, so they all agree to a truce to help Loki to stop the Serpent. So Tyr, Leah, and a number of the Desir join Loki's quest to stop the Serpent. Next stop, Limbo, and this is a different Limbo than the one that Marcus was from in the Captain Marvel episode.
Why are there so many limbos?
So many Limbos. This is a different Limbo. I can think of 3 Limbos off the top of my head.
Why? Why are there so many? Surely there's just one universal limbo.
No.
Why?
The only way they can get to Limbo, though, is if someone was to die.
Yeah, that's usually limbo, right?
So they kill Loki gets the Desire to kill the Hellwolf,
Okay.
and Loki then rides the Hellwolf into Limbo.
That's amazing.
But because the Hellwolf was only indebted to Loki whilst he was alive,
Oh, okay.
he immediately tries to kill him, and Loki is conveniently rescued by Surtur.
Okay, right.
What do you think of Surtur?
Terrifying, giant devil man. He has similar horns to Loki, though.
Yeah, he is the king of Muspelheim,
Okay.
which is one of the 9 realms.
Yeah.
He's a fire giant as opposed to the frost giants of Jotunheim.
Yeah.
But he's been trapped in limbo.
He looks angry.
I'd be angry if I was trapped
Yeah,
in
I'd be
limbo.
pretty pissed.
Loki promises to free Surtur from limbo and drop him straight into Asgard, but he needs a weapon to do it.
Right, so what does he use?
Surtur has this massive sword, you can see a tiny bit of it there, called Twilight,
Okay.
and Loki needs its shadow.
Right. Why?
We'll get there. So Surtur raises it up in the air so the shadow is only about this big. I know this is bad for podcast listeners, but so it's
Like 2 feet.
or even smaller probably. So it's manageable for someone to pick up. And Loki heads to the Serpent's Dark Asgard with one final weapon,
Okay.
the Destroyer.
Which is...
Do you remember in the Thor film, the big metal dude with fire out of the face?
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
So Loki's crew crash Dark Asgard, more specifically its library, where Loki finds the story of the serpent. He uses Twilight's shadow. So what do you think the shadow of a sword is?
I don't know.
What's mightier than a sword?
The word.
A pen.
Yeah.
A pen is mightier than a sword.
Yeah.
So Loki uses Twilight's shadow, which is a pen,
Oh, okay.
to write someone into the serpent's story.
That's ridiculous. Okay.
He writes Leah into the serpent's story and writes her as the girl that the serpent loved as a child who he never saw again.
Okay.
Which, as he does that, it changes the serpent's history and gives him enough of a weakness so that he can be defeated by Thor and the Avengers over in the main story.
That's clever. That's clever.
So if you're reading the main story, it just looks like Thor won. But if you're reading Journey to Mystery, you know why.
I guess it's a sort of like nod at you should be reading all of the story.
Yeah, well, it's the best sort of crossover in that you don't need to read.
Yeah, you don't have to, but they'd rather you
Well,
did.
it's not even that they'd rather you did. I'm sure they'd rather you did, but you don't need to read all of them. But you might get a richer experience if you do.
Like it's beneficial.
But there's some crossovers where you just need to read all of them,
Yeah,
which is annoying.
there's a lot.
Loki then frees Surtur into Dark Asgard, because Loki never said which Asgard he was going to drop him in.
Yeah. Okay.
Surtur's pissed, but it's like a Dark Asgard is better than no Asgard, and he's free. So he wrecks shit, and he makes his way back to Muspelheim.
Yes.
So after the serpent is defeated, Odin goes into exile to watch over his brother and appoints Freya, Idun and Gaia as the All-Mother to rule in his stead. So they are the new queens of Asgard.
Awesome. And a tiny pony.
There's a tiny pony.
And a cat.
There's a cat. There's like a fox.
Yeah, okay, a fox.
I don't know. So following the fight against the serpent, Loki frees the Desir from their bond to him.
Yeah.
But they died in hell.
Yeah, they did, that's true.
So they immediately just go back to hell, and they're not happy about that.
No, they were pissed anyway, so...
So they swear vengeance against Loki.
It's not going to end well, is it?
So Hela pops round and she reveals that while they were fighting, Helwolf and Garm got busy.
Oh.
And Garm gave birth to Hellpops.
Hellpops!
Which she says, Loki, this is your problem.
Why is it his problem?
Because the Helwolf was the dad and Helwolf was Loki's pet.
Oh yeah, I guess he had him like in his commando.
So Loki has to find homes for them. He finds homes for them for all but one of them,
Yeah.
which he takes on as his own and names Thori.
Oh, he looks evil, but he's cute.
And he's a mischievous little fellow who's always talking about like death to Asgard this and rip out your entrails that.
Oh, okay.
But Loki's rescuing of the pup is part of a way to prove to himself that no one is born bad.
Yeah.
And if you can save this pup, you can save himself.
Yeah.
Around the world, children are suffering from terrible nightmares that last for days and eventually kill them.
What?
And Loki,
What? Sorry?
Around the world, children are suffering from terrible nightmares that last for days, which eventually kill them.
What?
And,
That's ridiculous.
and Loki falls under the same mystical attack. He's awoken by Ickle before things get too bad and goes off to investigate what's wrong, crossing paths with Damon Hellstrom,
Okay.
who is the son of Satan.
Yep.
And he thinks Loki's the cause of it. Loki goes into his dreams to find out the source of the nightmares and comes across the Lord of Fear, Nightmare.
Terrifying.
Or one of the Lords of Fear. Nightmare is capitalising on the latent fear energies left behind by the Serpent, who is the Asgardian god of fear.
Yeah.
He wants to make a crown of fear to make himself the most powerful Lord of Fear ever.
A crown of fear.
Crown of Fear.
Right.
And due to his connection with the Serpent, Loki has a gold mine of fear energy,
Yeah.
which Nightmare wants to tap. If Loki doesn't go to sleep, Nightmare can't get at him. But if he doesn't go after Loki, he's going to go after the Innocents instead. Loki orders Leah to pull the fear stuff out of his head, and he offers it to Nightmare to save the rest of the sleepers.
That's nice.
But now Nightmare has this crown that makes him super powerful.
Yeah, probably wasn't a good idea, was it?
But Loki and Leah head to the Council of Fear, because there's a god of fear or a lord of fear for each aspect
Oh my god.
of fear. So there's like fear of multitude and fear, like the thrill of fear.
Oh my god.
So there's a council of them, and they all want the crown. So they just begin warring over it, and it's kind of an eternal stalemate. And while these 10 Lords of Fear are quibbling with each other over who gets this crown, they're not paying attention to Earth.
Right. Okay.
So over in San Francisco, there's a team called the New Mutants, who are mutants.
Obviously.
They are the second wave, or the third wave, of X-Men.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'll actually know any of these, but I'll go through them quickly. That is Magic, who is Colossus' sister.
Right.
That is, do you remember Warlock?
Oh, do
The
you?
robot Warlock.
Yeah.
That's him.
Oh, okay.
That is Doug Ramsey, who is Cypher,
Yeah.
whose power is he can decipher any language.
Yeah.
That is Sunspot, who gets super strong in his Sunspot form, but can only last a short while in it. That is Magma in the back, fairly self-explanatory. That is Karma, who has psychic powers. And that is Danielle Moonstar, who I believe she lost her powers in the House of M, but she is also a Valkyrie for Hela.
Sweet.
So one of the people that they dropped off one of the pups with was with the New Mutants.
So they just got a dog.
Yeah.
Nice.
But there's a guy who lives over the road from them who sees two Asgardians, Loki and Leah, dropping off this
Weird
Asgardian
dog.
dog and freaks out because he's hiding from Asgardians.
Oh no.
But he doesn't realise that they're not here for him in the first
Yeah.
place. So he dons a set of Asgardian armour in preparation for the Asgardians that wouldn't be coming if he didn't don that Asgardian armour and reveal where he was.
Yeah.
So when he dons the armour, the Desire vanish from Mephisto's control, and Mephisto tasks Loki with rounding them up, and Loki enlists Hela and Thor to help him separately. The Desire show up in San Francisco after the Mystery Asgardian, and Hela's crew, Thor's crew and the New Mutants all converge on the house.
Oh, okay.
The mysterious Asgardian is revealed as Sigurd, the Ever-Glorious,
Oh, right.
who is the first hero of Asgard,
Yeah.
back from Boar times. And to save his own skin, he reads from a spell from a scroll, which calls all the Asgardian beings to disappear.
Right, okay.
So reality has been rewritten, and all the Asgardians adopt mortal lives and identities.
Yeah.
Like Thor becomes Arthur the mechanic,
Yeah.
Loki is Luke the kid next door.
Everyone's just like a person.
Yeah. The New Mutants try and fix it, and with Cypher's help, he kind of speaks in a strong, authoritative Asgardian tone to Loki, and he remembers who he is.
Oh, okay. So it's like he's so powerful that it
Yeah.
reawakens everyone.
Yeah. So they head to Sigurd and reveal that the Desire have been after him for centuries, and he finally got away from them by doing this spell, and he can't undo it. Only the person who sold him the spell can undo it,
Yeah.
which was old Loki.
Okay. Right.
Which Kid Loki has no memory of. While this is going on, one of the transformed Desire can eat for the first time.
Oh.
So she finds her sisters and they just start eating everything, like garbage, cats,
Jesus Christ.
paper, all sorts.
Absolutely anything.
Attacking people. So they gorge themselves and they unlock their true Asgardian ways as Loki tries to cast a spell to bring back the Asgardians. Where it doesn't work, Loki reveals that Cypher didn't actually unlock him and he still thinks he's just Luke, the kid next door.
Okay, right.
And he thought he was just playing with the cool adults who live down the road.
Oh.
The Desire running wild through the streets as the mortal Asgardians are still proving that they're heroes no matter what by fighting them off.
Yeah.
Loki, while he's running away from the Desire, is attacked by Thori
Okay.
in an alley, and it turns him back into Loki because anything that echoes a true relationship breaks the spell.
Oh, so he's back now.
Yeah. Loki then wakes up Hela by putting Leah in danger.
That's nice.
And Hela rounds up all the Desire who reveal all they want is Sigurd, and they tell the true story of their origin. When it's said that they feasted on Asgardian flesh,
Yeah.
it was a metaphor. What they actually were hungry for was booty.
Okay, cool. Right.
And Bo caught them doing it with Sigurd and Sigurd's buddies.
Jesus Christ. That was a turn that I was not expecting.
So Bo cursed the Desire until the day that Sigurd was either killed or married the Desire. All of them.
All of them?
All of them. All of them.
That's a lot.
Killing Sigurd isn't an option anyone is happy with. So Danny Moonstar heads to Hell to ask Bo to minister the wedding.
This is just getting out of hand now, isn't it?
But when she hears it just means that the Desire are going to be in service of another man, she goes, no, we're not having this.
Yes.
The Desire realise that they can only eat dead Asgardians, and Bo is right there.
Ah.
So they chase Bo, who flees back to Hell, but Loki won't let him in unless he frees the Desire of their curse, which he does.
Okay, that's good.
The Desire take roles as Hela's new maidens and wardens of Hell, and all the Asgardians revert back to normal. But Mephisto, who no longer has the Desire under his power, tells Loki that he's made an enemy of him.
He's just making a lot of enemies, isn't he?
He is.
This isn't gonna work in his favour.
So in the Marvel Universe, there's an alternate dimension known as Otherworld,
Yeah.
which represents the spirit and subconscious of Great Britain.
Okay. Right.
It's where Captain Britain's based.
Right. Why Britain?
That's just what it is.
Okay.
And traditionally, it's very pastoral, kind of King Arthur
Yeah,
style.
right.
There's fairies and wizards, Merlin's there.
Jesus Christ.
But everything changes when the Industrial Revolution catches up to all the world.
That's awesome.
And a god rises from the ground, a god named Manchester.
Yes! That's cool. And weird.
Because where was the future born? Where was technology born?
Manchester.
Manchester.
Stop
Manchester.
it. Stop. Just because we live here.
I'm from here.
Yeah, but...
Manchester spawns other city gods, Birmingham, Liverpool, Newcastle, and they go to war with the denizens of Otherworld.
This is really cool.
The gods and lords of Otherworld attempt to negotiate with these city gods, but their envoy, a guy named Master Wilson, who is based on Tony Wilson.
Yep.
Do you know who Tony Wilson is?
I don't.
Have you seen 24 Hour Party People?
No.
Do you know of 24 Hour Party People?
No.
Tony Wilson was a guy from Manchester. He's a Manchester icon and hero, and he was a DJ. He ran record labels. He's the guy that Alan Partridge is based on.
Oh, that guy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Which it's just a cool twist that this guy's based on Tony Wilson.
Yeah.
And this guy Master Wilson tells them that your time is up, my time is now.
You had to, didn't you? You had to.
It's in the notes.
Yeah, you wrote that there for a reason, didn't you? I see what you're doing.
A good chunk of our listeners aren't going to know.
They're not going to understand that, but then some of them are going to be like, oh god, I hate him.
So Otherworld seeks aid from Asgard, who tell them that this is an internal matter and they can't aid them because Asgard asked for help during the serpent thing.
Yeah.
And Otherworld it's an internal matter, you got to deal with it yourself.
Like, you need to sort that out, it's not my problem anymore.
But the All-Mother meets with Loki and subtly suggests that no one would think Asgard told Loki to help.
Yeah.
So why don't you go there and help? Loki and Leah head to Otherworld and meet with Captain Britain.
Who is Captain Britain? That guy.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Is that the St. George's Cross? Not St. George.
No, it's the Union Jack.
I can't... Oh, yeah, right. It looked like it was just the red.
No. But, okay, so Captain Britain, he's complicated in his own right. He's kind of protector of this dimension, and there's a Captain Britain Corps.
Right.
And each Captain Britain is the protector of their universe.
Okay, fair enough.
And from Otherworld, you can access the multiverse.
Yeah. That makes sense, because it's sort of like a consciousness.
Yeah. And Captain Britain tells Loki and Leah that many of the citizens are fleeing to live inside the city gods, seeing it as the better option. Hela contacts Loki and says, you still owe me, like, a favour. You can repay this debt to me by finding me the Holy Grail while you're in Otherworld.
Of course.
Of course.
What else would you want?
Loki and Leah hook back up with Damon Hellstrom and surmise that if Otherworld has significant sites in Britain, like Stonehenge and the Tower of London and Hadrian's Wall,
Yeah.
that the Manchester gods might also have their own landmarks, which can be attacked or held hostage.
Yeah.
These landmarks include the Cavern.
Okay.
You know the Cavern?
Yes.
The Hacienda.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a legendary nightclub from Manchester.
Okay, right.
It's literally 5 minutes from where I work.
Okay.
It's now apartments.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, they're called the Hacienda Apartments, but it's literally... You know where I work? It's on the canal.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of the canal.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Like, you can see it from that Metrolink stop.
Oh, right.
I'll point it out to you. And also, a place of significance, it was Alan Moore's house.
Okay.
Which is funny because Leah's like, we found these places that are significant, it's here, here and here. And there's that greenhouse in Nottingham where this old guy lives. Loki plans to leak Otherworld's plans to blow these up because the Manchester gods don't know that Loki's working for Otherworld. And by doing this, he can gain the trust of the Manchester gods and put the fear of losing their significant sites into them. So Loki meets with Master Wilson and tells him that the Manchester gods provide a democratic alternative to Otherworld's oppressive monarchy, and that citizens are arriving of their own free will. And why should anyone have to put up with anything? Because that's the way things have always been.
Yeah.
He argues that the Manchester gods represent the modern British identity far more than fairies and elves and shit.
Yeah, because it's like a revolution.
Yeah. He claims they have no ill will towards Otherworld, and they'll have their own territories once the war is over. The Manchester gods represent change, which unsettles Loki, because Loki's all about change.
Yeah, like he likes to messing things up.
Well, not just that, he's about change in the face of stagnation.
Yeah.
For himself.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to be the same.
Yeah. And Loki realises that he's on the wrong side.
Oh, at least he realised.
Yeah. So Loki and Leah take down Otherworld's symbolic sites like Hadrian's Wall and Glastonbury Tor, while wearing Guy Fawkes' mask for extra symbolism.
Yeah.
Otherworld sues for peace, and a parliament is established in Otherworld for the first time.
Okay, right.
With new allies in charge of the realm, Loki is able to grant Hela access to the Holy Grail, which he drinks from, and Hela's missing a hand.
Why?
She's just been missing a hand.
Fair enough.
And remember when I said Leah was Hela's handmistress?
Mm-hmm.
Handmaiden?
Yeah.
It's more literal than you think.
So he's going to take her hand?
No, Leah, you know how Ickle is a part of Loki?
Oh, right, she is the hand.
Yeah. Jumble the letters around of Leah.
Okay.
And Hela's restoration means that Leah is no more, which makes Loki a bit upset.
Oh. You like Leah?
He did like Leah. They were BFFs. They shared milkshakes.
Oh, that's cute!
Like, I'll give you an example of what sort of stories the Journey into Mystery stories are. I googled Journey into Mystery today, and the first suggested search was Journey into Mystery fanfiction.
Yep. There we go.
Okay, so there are two races of Asgardians, kind of.
Yeah.
There are the Aesir,
Yep.
which are the gods,
Yeah.
and there's the Vanir, which are more mortal.
Just like the people.
Yeah, they're still more godly than, like, Midgardians.
Yeah, obviously, but...
And the Vanir are from Vanaheim, and the Aesir are from Asgard, but they're mostly allies. Eons ago, Freya, you know Freya?
Yes.
Her father, of the Vanir, sought Surtur's help in standing up to the Asgardians, or the Aesir. I know this was a war which eventually resulted in Freya and Odin's marriage to unite the two people with a common heir.
Yeah.
In the present age, Thor encounters a fire that burns even the gods, and shortly after the world tree is engulfed in the same fire.
Oh no.
A masked woman approaches and convinces the steward of Vanaheim that now is the time to rise up against Asgard.
Yeah.
Because Freya is the queen of Vanaheim, but while she's also the queen of Asgard, there's someone ruling in her stead.
Yeah.
It's not some Game of Thrones shit.
It is some Game of Thrones shit. It's like she needs to get in there.
The Vanir fight Thor and co, but get the upper hand when they show up with weapons provided by the Manchester gods,
Oh, nice.
powered by Surtur. Loki has a chat with Thor and reveals everything that's happened since the Serpent. And Thor's not mad, but he is disappointed.
That's worse.
Thor and Loki go to meet Master Wilson, who reveals that the Manchester gods were forged by Surtur, but they are not allies with him. They didn't know.
Yeah.
They had no idea that Surtur was this big bad. Volstagg puts together that everything that the Loki's been doing was under orders from Freya, and it looks like a Vanir queen has been arming the Vanir for an uprising.
Oh, okay.
So the Asgardian people call for the All-Mother and Loki's arrest, but Thor sticks up for them and helps Loki get away. Heimdall calls everyone to their senses and reminds everyone that Surtur is the true enemy, which is enough to get everyone on side. The Asgardians fight against the flames of Surtur throughout the Nine Realms, while Loki seeks the aid of Hela, but gets turned away.
Oh.
Surtur meets with his advisor, the mystery woman who was speaking to the Vanir earlier,
Yeah.
who proper hates Loki.
No,
And she takes off her mask,
super hates him.
and it's an older Leah.
Oh, okay. What?
So
Well, they were BFFs.
they were BFFs, and Leah, Leah's dead. Leah is back on Hela's hand.
Yeah.
So Loki finds a secret way into Muspelheim through the base of the Manchester god to destroy the engines that power Surtur's fire, while Volstagg leads the Asgardians in the main assault. Loki's confronted by Leah, who isn't Leah.
Right.
She's the girl from the story.
No! Okay.
She hates Loki because he wrote her as a one-dimensional character in a man's story.
Oh, that's amazing.
But Loki gets her on side when he reveals that everything he's done up until this point has been on purpose because he's still evil.
Of course he's still evil. No one's surprised.
He hates Asgard and always will. Loki allies himself with Surtur and tricks Thor into falling into the fire pits of Muspelheim.
Oh, okay. Well, Thor's been nice-ish to him.
Thor begins drowning in the fire as Surtur's influence is spreading through the Nine Realms. Loki catches Surtur monologuing and manages to sneak away with Twilight Shadow. Loki appears to Thor and he's like, you know what? I'm on your side. I'm actually on your side.
For once.
No, this Loki is a good Loki.
Oh, okay, right.
But he can use people's expectations of him to his advantage.
Yeah, he's manipulative.
Yeah, and he tells Thor to just let go and let the flames take him. Surtur, who is pissed off at Loki for stealing Twilight Shadow, frees the Hellwolf from his belly
Oh, no.
to track him down. Thor suggests that Loki gives him his glove so that he can lead Hellwolf away as Loki makes his way towards Hel from Muspelheim. But Thor betrays Loki in favour of his father
Yeah.
because Thor hates that Loki made him kneel.
Yep. He's got an issue with the whole... There's like a recurring thing about kneeling.
Yeah. But as Thor and Hellwolf are about to kill Loki, Garm shows back up with the Desire,
Oh, God.
and they manage to escort Loki back into Hel. Hela sends Loki back in time to Dark Asgard after Loki had already left Dark Asgard,
Yeah.
after it was all falling, and he uses Twilight Shadow to write the new Leah a more sympathetic, well-rounded story.
Oh, that's nice. So still BFFs.
Yeah. And he pops
Good.
back to the present day in Surtur's court, and Leah turns on Surtur due to the additions to her story.
Yeah, because like her whole background's changed.
Mm-hmm. Thor finally falls all the way through the fire into Hel, where Hela gifts him an army of the dead, and it's an army that won't burn in Surtur's fire.
That's super cool.
Loki convinces Master Wilson to destroy the Manchester gods and everything they ever created, because if Surtur's fire spreads to other world, it can then reach the multiverse.
Yeah.
Thor manages to slay Surtur by combining Twilight's shadow with Mjolnir,
Oh god.
and he casts the energy of Surtur into Asgard space, where nothing is.
Okay.
So everything's good. Loki helped save the day. Leah's back. Surtur's defeated. What can go wrong?
Everything. Everything can go wrong.
Damon Hellstrom shows back up and reveals that Mephisto has gained control of the Fair Crown.
Yeah.
And Leah tells Loki that Ickle was never real.
Oh.
It's just a whisper inside his head, a story that only he can see.
It's a bit weird.
And she can see one because she's the story too.
Oh, right, yeah, she is, isn't she?
And Loki realises that Ickle has been playing him the entire time. Because remember who Ickle is?
Yeah.
Ickle is old, evil Loki.
Yeah. Bugger.
Ickle informed Mephisto of the Fair Crown, who stole it from the Fair Lords, and waited until Surtur's war was over to suck up all the latent Fair energy. With this power, Mephisto could release hell on the multiverse.
Everything.
Yeah. But the crown is made up of Loki's thoughts and dreams. If Loki were to cease to be, the crown would be powerless. So Ickle says, if you let me take back over the body, everything's saved.
Yeah.
And Kid Loki is drastically searching for a way to stop it. Old Loki grants him 3 conversations before he must return and basically kill himself to let evil Loki take back over.
He doesn't make it easy for himself, does he?
No. The first conversation, he asks Brun of the Desir if she could consume him and annihilate his very essence. But since the Desir were rescued from their curse, that's not an option.
Yeah, they're not like eating people anymore.
He then beseeches Hela to send Leah far away so she won't have to suffer the new evil Loki that's going to show up.
Yeah.
And Hela does so and casts Leah back into the ancient past.
Oh.
As Leah curses Loki for it.
Yeah, but he is like one of his sort of wishes to make sure she's okay.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that. Because Loki only has 3 conversations, he can't explain to Leah why he's doing
He
it.
can't use his third one to be like, sorry.
Historically, Hela is the daughter of Loki in mythology. In the comics that's always been, what, how? This is how. Hela is who Leah grows up to be.
Oh, okay.
From that point in the past, she then grows up to be Hela. And Loki created Leah in the story.
Ah, okay.
And that's how he's her father.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's really, really weird.
For his last conversation, he meets with Thor and asks him if he were to ever go bad again, please kill me.
Yeah.
And Thor says he could never do it.
No, because he's a good egg.
Kid Loki meets with old Loki and tells him that he's already lost. And no matter how much he wills it, old Loki will never change. Like, the Asgardians and the narrative of Asgard will never let him change. He bites into the magpie of Ickle, symbolically giving over his body to old Loki, and with a last defiant "I win," drops dead.
Oh, okay.
He then rises up and grabs the Loki helmet from the plinth, and now he's old Loki in Kid Loki's body, and Kid Loki is dead.
Ah, it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think to that?
Terrifying.
Do you like Kid Loki?
He seemed better than old Loki.
I feel like I didn't do him as much justice because he's one of my favourite Marvel characters.
He seems more innocent, like mischievous rather than evil.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to like cause a bit of a ruckus.
And everything usually works out with the day being saved.
Yeah, everything's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to like play around a bit. Whereas old Loki's like, I'm gonna kill everyone in the whole universe.
So Loki, who is now the old Loki in Kid Loki's body, meets up with Miss America.
He does, yes.
And tries to get her to help him take out Wiccan for the good of the multiverse.
Yes.
And Miss America's like, no, fuck off.
Basically.
Wiccan then casts a spell to find a multiverse, or to find a universe within the multiverse where Hulkling's mother is still alive. Hulkling, we discussed him last week.
Good old Hulkling, yeah.
And this is a bit weird because this is a story that you've read.
I have read this, the one that I have read.
But we're going to go over it anyway.
We're going to go over it. Should I pretend like I don't know what's going on?
No. Just react as you'd react anyway. Loki tries to counter the spell and nearly gets his head punched off by Miss America, but manages to sneak in part of the spell behind his back, just as Wiccan brings Hulkling's mother back into the dimension.
Yes.
Turns out the Wiccan didn't rescue his boyfriend's mum. He brought forward a parasitic monster known as Mother.
Yes, I love that so much.
Mother turns all adults in the vicinity into pawns and throws Wiccan and Hulkling into a prison back on her home dimension, which is just... It's kind of like the white in between panels.
Yeah.
Which is a...
weird backspace.
Yeah, it's known as the bleed in comics.
I know, I'm aware.
Okay. There's also... In the DC multiverse, the area between the universe is actually called the bleed.
That's cool. That's cool.
And like you travel through the bleed to get to other universes.
Yeah.
They're rescued by Loki, who they then head to Asgardia for help, but they're attacked by Laufey, Loki's father.
Yes.
Miss America returns to turn the tide, but her dead parents show up, and I believe Miss America is one of the first, if not the first, to have two parents of the same gender.
It's awesome. It's so cool.
I feel like there's a big one that I'm missing, but I can't think who it is.
I'm still super excited about it.
The growing team of Young Avengers escape to New York, and America tells Wiccan that Loki tried to have her kill him, but Loki says that everyone expects him to be a villain, so he plays into that. He told America he's going to kill Wiccan to get her interested enough to keep an eye on him.
He's trying to be like innocent child Loki.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of evil Loki, pretending to be innocent child Loki, playing off the reputation of evil Loki.
Oh, right, okay. So he's trying to be like what everyone perceives him to be like.
He was trying to use his reputation to get Miss America to watch over Wiccan.
Yeah.
When actually he wanted to save Wiccan. So it turns out the Loki's spell to interrupt Wiccan's spell wasn't completed, and it was twisted in a way that so that Mother can attack anyone in the guise of their parents if they return home or if they're near Mother. Loki isn't anywhere near as powerful as he is as an adult, and Wiccan doesn't have the finesse to cast the spell to stop her, so they have two options. Loki can train Wiccan, but that's going to take a while, or Wiccan could loan Loki his powers.
Yeah.
But no one trusts Loki, so that's not an option.
Rightly so.
Mother shows up with her army of dead parents, and the final members of the Young Avengers, Nova
Yes.
and Hawkeye,
Yeah.
show up to save their comrades. As they're getting away, Loki can't help but be a dick, and he plants a seed in Hulkling's head that he's not real, but instead like a perfect prince boyfriend dreamed into existence by Wiccan.
Yeah.
Loki says that Mother's power is tied to Wiccan, and if he were to die, this would all be over. But with that not on the table, Loki manages to convince Wiccan to loan him his powers for 10 minutes, and as he does, he immediately bails.
Yep, sounds alright.
As every parent in New York converges on Central Park and the Young Avengers. Loki still has the personality of Kid Loki wrestling around in his brain, who guilts him into going back to stop Wiccan from killing himself,
Yeah.
to end it all. Loki uses the powers that Wiccan loaned him to power up the Young Avengers enough to fight back and fight the army of parents off long enough for them to escape.
Yeah.
And all while this is going on, Wiccan's brother Speed went missing somewhere in the multiverse, so they have to bounce around dimensions, encountering evil warped versions of themselves every turn, and they accidentally wind up in Mother's dimension, where Hulkling and a new member of the team, a guy called Prodigy, who's a former member of the teen X-Men, they get held hostage. The rest of the team escapes to the next dimension, where they find Loki's former BFF, Leah,
She's back.
just sat on a rock brooding.
Aww.
Leah doesn't want to do anything for now, but Loki quickly ushers the Young Avengers away from the worst accidentally running into your ex scenario
Yeah.
there's ever been. Loki comes up with a plan to rescue the missing Young Avengers, and what they do is they run through every horror dimension that they went through so far, acting as bait, and they lead all of the multiversal horrors into Mother's dimension to distract her enough to rescue their teammates. They get out, but Hulkling tells Billy that he needs time away from the team to get his head straight and prove to himself that he is his own person. Hulkling joins a support group that consists of Young Avengers exes, led by Leah.
Right.
So Miss America's ex is there, like half the group is Novar's exes.
Yeah. It's understandable.
Loki meets with Mother via astral projection and reveals that they struck a deal 6 months earlier so that Loki would convince Billy to bring Mother into their dimension. And Mother's pissed off because at no point in the deal did they say Loki couldn't immediately turn around and help Wiccan.
Yeah.
So Loki's done this as a way to get the future guardian of magic under Loki's control.
Yep. Basically, sounds about right.
Following Loki's gloating, Leah shows up in Mother's dimension and suggests an alliance and sets it up so that Hulkling winds back up in New York and Mother kidnaps him again. In order to rescue Hulkling and save the world, they need Loki at full strength. So Wiccan upgrades him to about around 19 years old.
Yeah.
Which is how he looks now, which is very Tom Hiddleston-ish.
Yeah. I assume that's what they were going for.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that issue came out the same week the premiere of Thor 2 hit.
Oh, right.
Because there's a picture of Tom Hiddleston holding that page on the red carpet.
Oh.
Like the day before the comic came out.
Beb.
So he still can't access his powers though for some reason.
Is it not explained?
Yeah, but not yet.
Oh, right, okay.
You read the comic?
I have. But I'm playing along!
Okay.
Playing along!
Okay. Their last resort plan is for Billy to become this guardian of magic known as the Demiurge early in order to fight Mother. And they recruit every teen superhero that they can to kind of hold off Mother's army while they head to her dimension. Mother unleashes the horrors of all these possible dimensions on New York, and while they're held back by the teen heroes, the Young Avengers take the fight to her. Billy becomes the Demiurge to fight Mother as the Young Avengers fight their evil exes. As the evil exes get the upper hand, Loki realises that all of them, plus the Kid Loki personality that's wrestling around in his head, are just his own guilty conscience that he's subconsciously weaponised against himself.
Right.
Loki announces to everyone exactly what he's done and admits guilt, and with that, Leah and all of the exes vanish into the ether as Loki curls up into a ball, just overcome with the guilt.
Aww.
He reveals that he isn't old Loki and he isn't Kid Loki. He's a tool old Loki used to kill Kid Loki.
Oh, sad.
He describes himself as the murder weapon Loki.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So he's not evil, he's just been thrust into this evil role.
Yeah, that's just some stuff went wrong along the way.
Wiccan becomes full Demiurge for a brief moment through the power of love and rewrites reality to get rid of Mother and the nastiness she brought. The Young Avengers celebrate with Loki nowhere to be found. He pops back up at the Young Avengers New Year's Eve party where he talks to Prodigy about his dilemma. He's a god and gods are creatures of story and he can't avoid the story of Loki, but he's going to try and be the best story that he can.
Oh.
So at this point he spins off into his own solo series, Loki, Agents of Asgard.
Okay.
He begins working for the All-Mother, and for every mission he does for them, they'll erase one story from his past, giving him a better chance at a fresh start.
Oh, okay, so he's like deleting all the bad stuff to make himself like a decent story.
Yeah. He steals Gram, which is the sword of Sigurd,
Okay.
which is kind of a truth sword.
Oh, so he's trying to redeem himself.
Yeah. And he sneaks into Avengers Tower, erases their files on him, and like stabs Thor straight through the heart.
That took a turn.
But because Sigurd's sword is one of truth, by stabbing Thor, he actually freed him of a dark possession that he wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Loki bottles the foul essence and returns it to the All-Mother. They wait until Loki leaves to open it, and when they leave, out of the jar comes
Regular Loki.
old Loki,
Yeah.
evil Loki, sinister Loki. The Loki that murdered Kid Loki with new Loki.
The bad one.
Yeah.
Bad egg.
Old Loki is kept prisoner in Asgard, but he seems to be a lot more powerful than anyone ever knew him to be, and without anyone knowing, he goes back in time to find Odin as a child and entertains him enough with, I'm going to say child, I mean like 13, 14.
Yeah.
Entertains him with tricks and riddles enough to kind of be worth like a travelling companion for Odin.
Yeah, okay.
On their adventures, they meet a giant otter in the road,
Yeah.
which old Loki just like kills straight away, just like chucks a rock at its head and kills it.
Why would you do that? Why would you just kill a giant otter? That's
For
cool.
the food and the skin to keep them warm and fed.
I guess he did it for the good, didn't he?
But the journey to an inn where they meet an innkeeper with 3 sons, one of whom is a shapeshifter.
Conveniently.
The 2 other sons return to see Odin wearing the skin of their dead brother,
Okay.
who was the otter.
Oh, right.
And they're angry.
Understandably so.
Old Loki tells the brothers that he travels with Odin of Asgard and he'll make a fine hostage.
He will.
He can pay them off, but Loki needs to go and get the money. One of the brothers wants to take the gold, but the other brother wants blood. The father decides to hold Odin hostage while old Loki is sent to retrieve the ransom. Loki journeys to meet Andvari, a dwarf who has a massive fortune, massive piles of gold.
Alright, okay.
And has used magics to turn himself into a giant pike
Okay.
to protect the gold.
It's a bit weird.
And he cannot be caught or compelled by magic to do anything. But one thing that he can't guard himself against is an M20 recoilless rocket launcher.
This is so weird.
It's pretty cool because
so weird. He turned himself into a giant pike so no one could steal all his money.
and he gets blown up by a rocket launcher.
And the only thing that his weakness is a rocket launcher.
Yeah, because it's something that like an Asgardian would never think to guard themselves against.
Why would anyone shoot a pike with a rocket launcher?
Because he wants the gold.
This is the weirdest situation.
So Loki blows the shit out of him, and as he dies, he curses the gold, so it forces truth upon all. So that Loki, if anyone asks Loki where did you get the money, they'll know he murdered Andvari. But when Loki drops off the money at the family, they're like, so how did you come across this money? Loki just goes, I shot a fish with a bazooka.
Yeah, basically.
And they're just like, and that sentence just means nothing to them.
Yeah, out of context it just sounds ridiculous. In context it sounds ridiculous, but that's not the point.
As old Loki prepares to leave with the young Odin, he tells him to build a box, long and strong, and to forge 5 keys to open it with. Meanwhile, the gold brings out the true natures of the remaining family members, and one of the brothers attempts to murder his family and escape with the gold, and with only the curse magic to sustain him, he becomes Fafnir the dragon.
Ah, okay.
So he's the traditional giant green dragon sat on a pile of gold.
Yeah.
His brother survives and forges a glorious sword to take down his brother, but he's too injured to do it himself. He tells Sigurd that he can have the sword and all of the dragon's gold if Sigurd returns with Fafnir's heart, which Sigurd does.
Obviously.
The sword, bathed in Fafnir's blood, gains the truthful properties of the gold and eventually finds its way into Bor's possession.
How?
When
Just
when
fighting and stuff.
When Bor chases Sigurd out of Asgardia due to the Vizier incident.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
And then when Bor died, it became Odin's.
Yeah.
Old Loki returns to Odin years later and tells him to take the sword and seal it in the box that he made, which stays in that box until new Loki finds it in that cave. And that's that story. So new Loki doesn't realise he's carrying around a weapon forged for him by old Loki, and at some point you gotta think that's gonna backfire on him.
Yeah. All of his plans seem to backfire on him.
So new Loki is tasked with bringing back wayward Asgardians to Asgardia, including Sigurd and Lorelei,
Oh, okay.
who is the sister of the Enchantress and former girlfriend of Loki back in his original incarnation. Lorelei gets away, but Loki manages to trick Sigurd into being spirited back to Asgardia.
Yeah.
But Loki has a problem with this because Asgardians should be allowed to leave and forge new lives for themselves wherever they want. So he recruits Lorelei, Thor, and a woman named Verity Willis, who is Loki's love interest in this book.
Oh, okay.
She can see through any lie,
She's cool.
which is an interesting love interest for the god of lies.
Yeah. It's a nice, dynamic.
Yeah. So Thor manages to distract Heimdall so that Loki and Lorelei can sneak into Asgardia unseen, and Verity acts as support who lets them know which of the traps are real and which ones are illusions.
That's helpful.
They meet up with Sigurd, who broke himself out, and surprise surprise, breaking Sigurd out wasn't the plan. Loki wants to know what's in the jail cell where old Loki is, so he breaks into that jail cell and he finds the old version of himself.
Oh, so he's still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Turns out it isn't an old version of Loki.
Who is it?
It's this Loki from the future.
Oh god, why? Okay.
And he's doing everything he can to make that future happen.
Yeah.
Whereas new Loki is like, no, I'm trying to prove that I'm not going to become you again.
He spends so much time just like time travelling, trying to make himself look good.
So Loki confronts the All-Mother. He's like, why are you working with this evil version of myself from the future? But the All-Mother says, as long as there is a Loki from the future, it means there's no Ragnarok.
Ah, yeah.
So new Loki quits in disgust, and King Loki tells him that things are going to get only a little worse from there, and to remember that X marks the spot.
Yeah.
So why does X mark the spot? Do you remember the bomb full of secrets?
I think so, yeah.
The Watcher's Eye
Yeah.
that exploded? When that explodes, it reveals to Thor that he has a sister and that there's a 10th realm.
Okay.
He confronts the All-Mother, and Freya tells him that they did have a sister, which was the Aesir Vanir heir.
Yeah.
But during a war with the 10th realm, the baby was killed.
Why?
You sound exasperated now.
Every time there's a baby that dies. Why did it die? Why did it have to die?
In retaliation, Odin locks the 10th realm away from all the others. Thor refuses to believe that his sister is dead and goes to meet with Loki, who realises what King Loki meant by X marks the spot, because X is the Roman numeral
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, it is.
Using a map that Loki saw in King Loki's cell, they find the 10th realm and cross through with Loki's magic. And upon arriving, they're immediately attacked, and Loki just takes off while Thor holds the attackers back. The 10th realm is called Heaven.
Okay.
Heaven.
Right. Nice. Good touch.
And all the people there are angels.
Obviously.
Loki sneaks up on the Queen of Angels and convinces her to sit down and chat with him as Angela,
Yeah.
who is an angel of heaven.
She is. Angela.
She returns to provide backup against Thor. The Queen of Angels explains to Loki the history between Heaven and Asgard. During caveman times, Odin hired the angels to protect Midgard from rogue Asgardians who kind of hunted like Neanderthals for sport.
Oh, right. Okay.
But meanwhile, the Jotuns hired the angels to form a strategy to take Asgard down. Because the angels have a code of something for something
Yeah.
and nothing for nothing. They don't see the conflict this causes because they work in very literal terms. They call Odin the king of nothing because Odin puts a high price on honour.
Yeah.
But to them, like, you can't see honour, you can't touch honour, you can't trade honour. So,
No sense.
So Odin goes to war with the angels, who say it can all be solved if Odin just pays them off. But this war is the war that leads to Thor's sister being murdered. The baby.
Okay. Right.
The Queen speaks to Loki's recent frustrations with the All-Mother and recruits him as her mistress of strategies, with Loki shifting genders once again.
Okay.
Loki's first act in the new role as mistress of strategies for the angels is to bring Thor in alive. Loki leads the newly freed armies of heaven into war with Asgardia, and as the angels torture Thor, Loki crashes the ships into Asgardia,
Oh.
which is impregnable due to a force field, and the ships go boom and everyone in it dies. Loki reveals herself as a traitor and loyal to Asgard, as Thor frees himself by calling down a storm.
It's all going very wrong.
Loki makes his way to the dimension that Asgard is supposed to be, where Odin is watching over his prisoner, the serpent, his brother. She tells Odin that the 10th realm is once again open and they need him back, so he returns with his brother. Thor fights with the Queen of Angels back in heaven as Angela shows up to challenge Thor to one-on-one combat. As Thor's about to smack her down, Odin shows up and immediately recognises Angela as Aldrich Odin's daughter.
Oh, okay.
The baby.
Yeah.
Thor's sister.
Oh, she's not dead.
No. Outed as an Asgardian, she's no longer welcome in heaven, and she wants nothing to do with Asgard.
Well, yeah, because they were like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah, so she takes off on her own.
Yeah, fair play.
Thor and Loki leave with Odin, who tells them that no matter what, he loves them. And there's a really good bit where he says, "My son, my daughter, and my child who is both. I love you all."
Oh, that's cute!
And that pisses off King Loki, because in his history, there was a massive war of angels due to Odin's brashness.
Yeah.
And like, his daddy never told him he loved him.
Oh, babe.
So, Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Doctor Doom takes a trip to see the end of the world, just as a kind of a tourist.
Just as you do, just casual Saturday.
And while he's there, he meets King Loki,
Okay.
who is checking his future to make sure it's still intact, which it is.
Is this him on his time travels again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Doom decides to put a stop to this end of the world scenario by taking down present day Loki, and he manages to trap him in stasis outside of time and space.
Yeah.
Loki is rescued by Verity as Dr. Doom's called away to deal with rioting citizens due to the Red Skull's hate wave.
Right.
Because the Red Skull at this point has the brain, he has part of the brain of Charles Xavier in his head.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
So he's got psychic powers. As the hate wave is taking over Latveria, Loki's able to broadcast the truthiness from his sword throughout the country to save everyone.
Yeah.
Then Magneto, who's been going around recruiting villains to take on the Red Skull, shows up and recruits Doom and Loki.
Everyone is in the story.
No, this is a crossover called Axis.
Okay.
I think we covered this bit in Inhumans, because this is the one where everyone gets flipped.
Oh, right, yeah.
All the good guys become bad guys and all the bad guys become good guys.
That was cool.
Due to being flipped, Loki is now physically unable to lie and commits himself to a heroic life. He stops Sigurd and Lorelei from robbing a bank and returns them to Asgardia, where Odin punishes them by sealing them in caskets of bone and burying them deep in the ground.
Jesus.
Loki must then take on his inverted brother Thor, who is evil at this point.
Yeah, because Switch.
And at one point manages to lift Mjolnir, Loki does,
Yeah.
which is a big deal. And he actually defeats Thor, but at that moment the inversion is reversed and Loki drops the hammer. Following this, Loki finds himself unable to lie, possibly a product of the truth wave,
Yeah.
due to the sword that King Loki kind of tricked Loki into coming in possession of.
Yeah.
He's now incapable of lying.
Does he use that on his time travels to make sure everything's good?
What? So,
Loki.
which Loki? You have to be more specific.
Yeah, I'm aware that there's a whole bunch. You know how he's going around, deleting all the bad bits of his story and stuff,
Mhm.
and making sure he looks good
Yeah.
in the final product all the way through?
Yeah, well, New Loki, New Loki's not going through time.
Oh, okay, right.
He's just having the story stricken from record.
Yeah.
But he's no longer working with the All-Mother, because they're working with King Loki.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But King Loki created this truth sword that would one day be in Loki's possession, which ended up with Loki being unable to lie.
Yeah.
So Thor shows up to apologise for his actions during the invasion, and just offhandedly wonders how far they've come, how different they are, because Thor's no longer worthy of the hammer, and Loki can no longer lie. And just in casual conversation, Thor goes, "What happened to the carefree, mischievous child I used to know?" And at which point Loki feels the trap close around him,
Oh,
and he
no.
can't lie, so he has to admit what happened to Kid Loki.
No, okay.
Thor freaks out and beats the tar out of Loki,
Yeah.
and the only thing that saves him was Thor's promise to Kid Loki, that even if it went bad, he'd never
yeah.
kill him. He returns Loki to Asgardia and tells the gathered crowd what this Loki did, and abandons Loki to his punishment,
Yeah.
and that's where we are now.
Oh, Babs. He is sort of misunderstood.
Yeah.
He still might kill a whole bunch of people.
Well, there's essentially 4 Lokis.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, but he still did some pretty harrowing stuff.
Well, there's old Loki, who is at the start of the story, who dies and becomes Kid Loki, who dies and becomes New Loki, who will eventually, some point in the future, become King Loki.
Yeah,
New Loki kind of hasn't done anything wrong.
yet.
The Loki that Thor has just beat the tar out of, his only crime is being the gun that killed Kid Loki.
Yeah, I guess it's true.
So, it's a complicated character though.
Yeah.
But do you like him?
I do like him, I like him a lot.
So, thumbs up, thumbs down on Loki,
Thumbs up.
thumbs up. So now we're going to do a segment that I am tentatively calling
I can be your hero, baby.
Oh god.
So, on our list, where does Loki fall? I'm going to go over the list. We have at number 8, Captain Marvel. We have at number 7, the Hulk, Bruce Banner. Number 6 is Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. Number 5 are the Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 4 is Shazam, Billy Batson. Number 3 are the Inhumans. Number 2 is Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Number 1 is The Flash. Before we get to Loki, I want to split up The Flash.
Okay.
So when we say The Flash, which Flash are you talking about specifically?
I can't remember. Not Barry.
Wally?
Fuck Barry. Probably probably Wally.
Wally West. So Wally West, you prefer Wally West to Carol Danvers?
Yeah, I like Wally. I like him a lot.
Where does Barry Allen go?
In hell.
Number 9, Dead
He's
Last.
the worst. I hate him so much.
Dead Last.
Yeah.
And Bart Allen.
Oh no, Kid Flash. Is he Kid Flash, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. Put him under Wally.
Really? Above Carol?
I don't know. I really liked him though. Can I tie them?
No.
I'm not allowed to tie them, am I?
Where does Kid
Under
Flash go?
Carol then.
Under
I think.
Carol.
I love Carol. Carol
Okay.
has a special place in my heart.
And let's do Loki.
I don't know. I like
Where
him
does
a
he go?
lot.
We have 10 characters on the list so far.
Loki. I don't know.
Well, do you like him more than Barry Allen?
I like him more than Barry Allen.
Do you like him more than Marvel?
I don't know. I like him a lot. He's quite high up.
Okay. Do you like him more than the Hulk?
I think he's somewhere in like the top 5 region.
Okay. Well, would you rather read a Loki comic or a Shazam comic?
I don't know. I'm tired. Like, I've not read either, so...
I know, but from what I've told you, which one sounds more interesting?
I want to put him under Inhumans, I think.
Under Inhumans, okay. That is all of our business for tonight concluded. Let's wrap this up and go to bed. Journey to Misery, you can find it on iTunes. Please leave us a rating or a review, subscribe. If you do leave us a rating and a review, it helps more people find the show. And if we see the review in time for the episode, we will read it on the show. If we don't, we'll read it as soon as we see it.
Yeah, we'll read it when we find it.
Yeah, I do try and check it before we record every week. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/kingimpulse. If you would like to pick an episode, you're more than welcome to. We've got some bonus episodes going up. Here's what I'm going to do with bonus episodes, because I know last week I said the episode with my granddad was going to be a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
And I released that for free today.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to be discussing the superhero events, the crossover events with you as Patreon exclusives. They're going to be about 20 to 30 minutes long at most, and they'll go up a few of them a month. Every 4 or 5 I'm going to release them as an album on Bandcamp.
Oh, that makes sense.
A month later for pay what you want.
Yeah.
So I don't want to deprive people of this crucial information. So if you want it for free, it will be available to you just a bit later. But also if you want to support us but don't want to do the monthly donation of the Patreon, this is a way you can do it.
Yeah, I guess the thing with Patreon is you do have to do it every month.
Yeah.
And I guess if you don't have like
$5.
Yeah, if you don't have $5 a month.
Yeah, but you still want to support.
Yeah.
I want to provide another way. But I also don't want to deprive people of any episodes, really.
Yeah, because that's not fair.
So I feel like a month's worth of Patreon exclusivity is fair enough.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
It's a good middle ground.
But if you go to patreon.com, you can become a patron and get that exclusivity. patreon.com/kingimpulse. What else? kingimpulse.com.
That has everything on it.
The image gallery.
The image gallery that we always forget.
We always forget right to the end.
Sorry, image gallery. You're a useful resource.
There's like 40 images in this one as well.
There's a lot of pictures.
Yeah, there's an image gallery. If you go to kingimpulse.com and read the show notes for the episode, they'll send you to the images that Helena saw, and you can see what she was reacting to specifically. No Red Line images this week.
No, thank God. He's the worst. I hate him so much.
There's probably some other stuff, but I can't think of it. So my name is Kieran Shiak. I am at King Impulse on Twitter.
I am Helena Hart. I'm at HE on Twitter.
This has been A Journey to Misery.
In parts.
We'll see you next week.